Kagurabachi, Chapter 19. Night of Darkness. A brand new arc opens and our window in is a battered kid who worships the samurai. We start on a stranger. A light-haired youth recalls the day he lost his entire family. Something stops him cold mid-drink. A note, a name, the past lurching back. This is Hakuri Sazanami, and what I love is how the arc resets through his eyes, not Chihiro's. The memory widens to a plaza, dark smoke coiling from a crouched shape. Something monstrous is about to break loose. A hand lunges for Hakuri's terrified face. In an instant, he is caught. Massacre. The attacker promises to electrocute everything in all directions at once. The world shatters into shards. Hakuri can only stammer, "Wait, no." A voice cuts through the dark shaft. Not yet. It is not over yet. A strained face fills the panel. "I still have a job to do," he says. Sweating, hand to his chest, the wounded figure braces for one more push. A hand drags across the floor, trailing speed lines, reaching toward the danger instead of away from it. This is Chihiro Rokuhira, bloodied and wreathed in smoke, throwing himself forward. His hand stretches toward Hakuri's wary eye. He is not attacking, he is shielding. On the ruined street, onlookers gasp. Did he absorb the lightning? What just happened? Sojo's boots stagger and wobble. The man who promised a massacre is collapsing instead. Sojo recoils mid-motion, smoke trailing off him. Chihiro drew the entire charged attack onto himself, one wide, dazzled eye. To Hakuri, this stranger just became a legend. The samurai. January 11th, 18 days after Sojo's death and 7 days until the Rakuzaichi auction. The countdown is set. A vast temple looms in the night. Echoing back to that vow, there is still a job to do. Present day, and Hakuri's face jolts from a hard hit. He is in serious trouble. 3 suited Yakuza stand over his beaten body. He tried to interfere, they say, while they were kidnapping a kid. A child bolts down the hall. "The kid's getting away," the thugs shout, breaking into a chase. Hakuri snarls in panic, helpless to stop any of it. Gunfire rips the air as they try to cut the girl off. The captured girl cries out, "Take me with you." My read on Hakuri is that he sees his old self in her. A stern, bald enforcer looks down, unmoved by the pleading. A body slams against the wall. The beating goes on. A mustached man lounges, grinning. "Relax," he says. "It's almost the Rakuzaichi auction." Hakuri, bloodied on the ground, seethes. These slime, he thinks, men who traffic living people. The grinning man waves 2 of them off. "Then go track her down," he orders. A muscular enforcer hurls himself across the hall. Isu, the Sazanami clan's signature sorcery, the same power Hakuri's family wields. Battered and somber, Hakuri stays silent, taking the punishment for trying to do the right thing. "I thought maybe I could be like him," he admits. That one line is the emotional spine of his whole character. In the dark, an eye glints, watching. Someone has noticed this cruelty. Scumbags. Hakuri mutters at his captors, still defiant, even broken on the floor. A swordsman stands in the doorway, dismissive. "What a dope," he sneers. "The calm before everything goes wrong. Rough him up before you chop him up." The mustached man laughs. Coldly casual cruelty. Hakuri musters a weak grin. "Just kidding," he croaks, defiant to the last. A spiky-haired profile turns by an arched window, sensing something the thugs do not. A dark shape glides up beside a startled man. "A goldfish," he blurts, baffled. The goldfish shadow swells in the corridor. "He's coming!" someone screams. A black streak tears through the room, flinging the Yakuza like ragdolls. A giant black goldfish Shikigami smashes clean through the floor. This entrance is one of the best in the series so far. Chihiro stands distant in the corridor and names the technique. Kuro, the samurai, has arrived. 2 survivors hover over a downed shape, the gang already in pieces. More thugs crowd a fallen companion, the whole crew dismantled in seconds. One enforcer moves in on the fallen boss. Chihiro is sparing the boss deliberately to interrogate later. We cut to a quieter memory. So Sojo was a mere puppet, someone wonders. In a traditional room, his companion presses, "What do you mean by that?" Exposition unfolds. The Hishiku just used Sojo's name while auctioning off the Shinuchi. On an outdoor deck, the truth settles in. These dealers lurk in the shadows of society. This is Shiba weighing a plan. Before the Rakuzaichi, if we want the Shinuchi back, we move now. He lays it out. The black market auction and the family that runs it, the Sazanami. Items held by the Sazanami family, Shiba notes, including a sacred blade worth killing for. Chihiro stays composed. Dig through society's underbelly, he reasons, and the path to the Shinuchi appears. "I have a question," he says evenly. This is a smart, economical way to reset the stakes after Sojo. Back in the present, Hakuri clutches his bleeding face and gasps one word. Samurai. Chihiro's scarred face tightens, wary. He recognizes nothing in this stranger's reverence. An enemy? No, Hakuri fumbles, reaching out, more like a person who, his words tumbling over each other. The coated figure stands quietly from behind. What I love here is Chihiro reading as menace and salvation at once. Hakuri seizes him, eyes blazing. "What I need is a samurai, and that's you." His manic eyes lock on. "This is fate," he insists. "I'm Hakuri Saza," before he can finish. Chihiro vaults across a window, the goldfish work not quite done. The art on these dashes is gorgeous. He glances back in profile, that scar catching the light. Finally curious about the kid. They face off properly now. "Did you say your name was?" Chihiro asks. "Sazanami." The reveal lands hard. Hakuri Sazanami, of the very clan running the auction. A star flash bursts behind a hunched silhouette. That single name changes everything. The chapter closes on a near-empty bubble and a simple offer. Will you listen to my story? Next chapter, Hakuri names his price. Kagurabachi, Chapter 20, The Kamunabi's Weapon. Chihiro strikes an uneasy alliance, then walks straight into an ambush. Chihiro keeps it simple. He needs information on the Sazanami clan, and this scrappy informant is his way in. Hakuri Sazanami leans in, asking if Chihiro knows about the Rakuzaichi auction. Everything hinges on that event. Chihiro is puzzled. The Sazanami themselves control the Rakuzaichi, so why is one of their own selling them out? Hakuri grins through nervous sweat, spitting out the word loathsome. He despises the auction his family runs. Chihiro's single sharp eye locks on, weighing whether this rambling stranger is worth his time. Hakuri explains that every Sazanami is trained in sorcery from childhood, all to protect the Rakuzaichi. Then the gut punch. He calls himself the weakest kid ever born to the Sazanami, talentless among prodigies, so they disowned him. The flashback shows a downcast Hakuri, cast out by the only family he had. He describes the hall itself, rows of barred cages where living humans and corpses are sold to despicable buyers. Chihiro just listens, flat-stared and unreadable. He's heard a lot of speeches, and most meant nothing. My take. Hakuri's disowned prodigy arc is doing real work, because his hatred of the auction is personal, not heroic posturing. An off-panel voice prods Chihiro. Is saving people really his thing? The question hangs heavier than it sounds. Hakuri lights up and points, calling it a coincidence that he's a Sazanami, the very clan Chihiro is hunting. Chihiro's deadpan reply, "Oh, are you?" is perfect. He's already 3 steps ahead of this excitable kid. Then, the bombshell in a giant speech bubble. This year's Rakuzaichi headliner is the Shinuchi itself. Chihiro cuts to it. He wants to steal the Shinuchi, the sacred blade he has been chasing all along. Chihiro turns it back. Steal it and use it for what exactly? He doesn't trust easy answers. His own reply is honest to a fault. He doesn't know yet, he'll figure it out once the blade is in hand. A sheathed sword rests by the elevator panel as the weight sinks in. The Shinuchi is a sacred blade. Ink churns like turbulent water. A sacred blade, we're reminded, takes the lives of everyone around it. A phone buzzes against the floor. Far away, the pieces of an ambush are sliding into place. In a quiet tatami room, a man stands over a body and says he heard from Azami. The hunters have their orders. A massive swirling vortex eye fills the page, ominous and alive. Something is about to tear this calm open. Chihiro and Hakuri walk a long corridor, heist secured. They have no idea what is waiting ahead. Down a long hall, a lone figure stands framed in a distant doorway. The sightline itself feels like a trap. High-heeled boots press onto flaming, cracked ground. The narration warns the flame-bone rivals a sacred blade. A clawed, flaming, skeletal gauntlet manifests, the flame bone of the starving igniting into terrible shape. Rubble shatters with a sharp crack as the wall blows apart. The ambush has officially begun. Out steps Hayuki Kagari, long dark hair, flaming gauntlet ready. "Chihiro Rokuhira," she says. "I've been looking for you." Her terms are blunt. Lay down the sacred blade, and she'll put away the flame bone. Nothing beyond that. Hakuri clutches the sheathed blade in shock, realizing only now that the thing in his arms is a sacred blade. Chihiro scans an empty glass lobby. The people are gone, and he wonders if this vanishing is enemy sorcery. A heavy-set sumo man with a top knot answers. Tafuku Mahara calls this a holy sumo ring, sealed off from the world. Chihiro reads them instantly and asks if they're Kamunabi. The nation's sorcerers have come for his blade. With a sudden lunge, Chihiro drops low. There's no more talking. The trap has snapped shut around him. An overhead view captures the chaos as Hiyuki and Chihiro collide in a sprawling top-down clash. The arena widens, the two lunge across the floor, a trail of flame chasing Chihiro's blade. Hiyuki's ink-splattered eyes blaze with focus. This is the Kamunabi's strongest, and she fights like she knows it. A snake-like flame whip lashes out from the flame bone, proving it can strike from any angle. Chihiro suddenly shouts, "You broke it!" Something just happened that even he didn't see coming. He names it. This is the flame bone, and it broke Cloud Gouger, the blade he once shattered himself. Here's why the flame bone versus sacred blade idea is great. It answers Enten blow for blow, so skill, not raw power, decides this. Half his face grim, Chihiro offers a way out. Let it go. He has no interest in killing her tonight. Mai read on Hiyuki as a foil. She's the inverse of Chihiro, a believer who thinks sacred blades belong to the nation, not the man. Her narrowed eye burns with fury at his mercy. To her, his casual grip on that blade is an insult. The flaming gauntlet clenches as she declares the blade should be controlled by the Kamunabi, no one else. Chihiro launches airborne over a spreading wave of flame-bone fire, barely clearing the blast. An overhead shot shows him slammed into debris. The narration recalls a man who lost his right shoulder to this weapon. Sweat on her brow, Hiyuki frames it as tragedy. That ruin awaits anyone who defies the Kamunabi. This is the smart engine of the fight to me. Two weapons that cancel out, turning a power clash into a chess match of nerve. Her arm fills the frame as she repeats the threat. Keep wielding that sacred blade, and the same fate finds him. A dark smear of flame and motion, and Chihiro's own thought slips out. Why am I hesitating? Hiyuki lunges down the wide hall, flame flashing, screaming for him to go to hell as he scrambles back. Then, her grin. Gotcha. Chihiro's startled eyes say it all. She's read his movement and closed the gap. Their bodies collide midair, a brutal kick landing hard. Neither one is giving an inch. The flame bone detonates in an explosive burst, swallowing them both in fire and smoke. Where does this fight rank for me? It's one of the best early Kagurabachi duels, one on nerve rather than firepower. Through the smoke, Chihiro emerges sweat-streaked but resolute. Cornered or not, he hasn't dropped N10, and that's where it leaves him. Collapsed in the debris, barely conscious, trapped in a sealed ring with no exit. My final take, ending with Chihiro, genuinely cornered, is the right call because it makes Hiyuki a real threat, not a speed bump. Tafuku's ring still seals them in, and Shiba can't pull them out. The only way forward is to win or to fall. Kagurabachi Chapter 21. Lukewarm. The chapter that asks Chihiro a brutal question: fight for real or don't fight at all. We open on Hiyuki Kagari downed in the rubble. She murmurs that he saved her, lighting the jewel's fuse. Bloodied Hakuri Sazanami looks up at the floating blade and tells Chihiro that katana suits him. Chihiro faces the masked Hiyuki and her handler, who argue they should waste him right now. Hiyuki snaps mid-shout, her face furious. The pleasantries are gone. Hand on her hip, Hiyuki delivers her creed. A dangerous thing belongs to the nation, the Kaminabi. She demands he hand over the blade if he's really a good guy, Chihiro Rokuhira. My read on the lukewarm motif starts here. She's daring him to prove his conviction. Tafuku Mihara wipes sweat and confirms the rules. Nobody leaves this sealed space until the duel is over. Tearful and determined, Hiyuki invokes the sword's eternal contract, warning what happens if he resists. Sword drawn, she accuses him of killing Sojo after he tamed Cloud Gouger, making him a danger. Then the smirk and the line that titles the chapter: no more of this lukewarm crap. That's the thesis for the whole fight. A katana rests on the floor. A quiet beat before the storm, the framing telling us a choice is coming. A recap strip reminds us these are still tools for killing, and his tragedy is what they cause. Chihiro raises his sword, eyes forward, and calls it, "It's coming, Hiyuki." He grips the wrapped hilt and names the technique. Nishiki, a technique of N10, not a separate blade. Chihiro lunges, telling himself he has to master this. A hero still learning his own weapon mid-fight. He erupts in a full-page burst of swirling lightning, for my money one of the best energy splash panels in the arc. Low and fast, Chihiro tears across the field in a blur of crackling speed. From the darkness, Hiyuki's eye narrows as narration recalls Hagiwara, and the others mowed down by lightning speed. Hair flying through the debris, Hiyuki glares him down, refusing to flinch. Tafuku reacts as Chihiro's silhouette closes in, muttering, "It's a trap, there's an opening." Scar sharp and eyes calm, Chihiro brings the blade to her neck, composed in the chaos. He twists over his shoulder, fist clenched, wrenching the strike into something new. Tafuku grins and calls it sword grab. The duel just became a grappling exchange. Hiyuki, stitched mask creasing, clocks his short sword in the same instant. The two clash mid-motion. The Nishiki versus Flamebone of the Starving Exchange is the cleanest choreography in these chapters. Her eye fills the panel with a sharp tech as the impact lands. A dark figure twists and swings the blade back around, the silhouette work selling pure momentum. Whop! Hiyuki takes the hit and recoils hard, knocked it off her footing. She swings the blade down at her, snarling, "You little punk." The reverse, she's the one pushed, lands beautifully. A recap strip flashes the clash and a realization he did that on purpose. He's been baiting her. An explosive impact bursts across the arena, debris flying everywhere. Chihiro dashes through the smoke and throws her words back. "Stop it with the lukewarm crap." He shouts the line I keep returning to, "Don't you dare hit me with the flat of your blade." He's noticed she's holding back. Bloodied and grinning, Hiyuki confesses she can't do this unless he comes at her for real. It's the best character beat in the arc. She can't kill without being seen as a threat. Skidding low with Hiyuki behind him, Chihiro answers, "Flat. Come at me for real. You're nuts." He crouches, blade drawn back, settling into a stance that says he's done with defense. Framed behind a barred window, Chihiro steels himself for what he's about to commit to. Tafuku watches from behind the barrier and admits it. He's giving it his all. Hiyuki's bloodied profile fills the frame, drinking in the fight she demanded. In the wide arena, she states her impossible condition. I can't kill you if you don't come at me with intent to kill. Blood-flecked, Chihiro gives her what she asked. I'll kill you, Rikuo, spinal column, naming her own summon. Tafuku tenses and realizes it. He's serious about killing this dude. The lukewarm is gone. The sealed energy field cracks and starts to collapse under the strain of his intent. Hiyuki shouts as Tafuku panics, the force field's gonna break. Her own bloodlust is unmaking the barrier. Inside the hall, a figure rushes across the floor past startled bystanders. Two suited men stand distant in a corridor, the world outside the duel carrying on. Hiyuki turns to face a suited attendant, holding herself upright by sheer will. Then she wobbles, half-lidded and spent, on the edge of collapse, the Kaminabi's strongest at her limit. A top-knot woman and a small girl report it. He grabbed the moron and got out. Hiyuki crumples as attendants gather. The moron passing out is what ended the contest. Hakuri fainting was the release condition all along. Battered, sword in her mouth, Hiyuki sits in the wreck of the duel she begged for, the most alive she's looked. We shift to a grand hall, as a voice promises it's gonna be wild this year. This setup recontextualizes everything. The fight was never the main event. The page labels him Kiora Sazanami, head of the Sazanami family and lead auctioneer, the reveal that snaps the arc into focus. Gloved hands present a roped chest, the Shinuchi Enchanted blade by Kunishiga Rokuhira. The headliner Chihiro has chased. A lone figure sits before an ornate shrine, addressing the sealed blade. The art frames this owner from behind to tease Sojo, but the chapter refuses to confirm it. A robed auctioneer vows, "We'll protect the Rakuzaichi, as always." With Kyora's countdown set, every thread now points there. The camera pulls back to a vast tiered amphitheater. For my money, Lukewarm is the strongest of these three chapters. Cleanest fight plus cleanest table set in the arc's opening. Subscribe so you don't miss the auction arc. Chihiro rests with his back to us, to be continued. Hiyuki's wounded, but stalking him, and the Shinuchi's owner waits. So, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the auction floor.